Mate, what is with all these NRL fantasy podcasts? They all sound the fucking same. Welcome to the echo chamber.
Welcome to the NRL Fantasy Echo Chamber podcast. We are here. It's Teamless Tuesday, round 10, and I am joined by everyone's favourite Kiwi. Eddie, how you going, mate?
Yeah, fucking not too bad, bro. Break's still pretty shit, but slowly rising and hopefully start making some bigger moves.
Yeah, well, you can't get much worse.
Bro.
It can't get much worse for you.
I hate Hopgood, bro.
Yeah, well,
I hate him.
on the other side of the coin, I had a pretty good week. Moved from 67th to 45th overall with 133, I think was my score. It's just a ridiculously huge scoring round. I was on track to having like one of the better scores until Kiraz scored that century. Did you manage to get on him this week?
Yep. Yeah, I've had him for a couple of weeks.
Mate, absolutely.
Really fucking needed that score too, because I missed a lot of the other big ones, including trading out that shit cunt Toya.
Mate, I can't tell you how chuffed I was when he posted 2 tries and almost cracked 100 himself.
It's the fucking...
It's
Yeah, you got a wave of luck at the moment, but luck meeting good decisions fucking generally leads to success, right?
exactly, yeah. I think it's just about sort of making logical decisions and getting timings right. I've been quite good at timings for the last 2 seasons, so
Yeah.
Before I start tooting my own horn for the whole show, let's crack into it. So we've got Parramatta versus the Dolphins, the Thursday game this week. Do you have Riley Smith, or are you interested in Riley Smith? The first 50 for the year for him last week. Looks like he's on the up.
I don't have him, and I'm considering him. I'm still a little bit wary because that score seems to be a bit of an outlier. I think he could be like a 40-point player, but that's only if he keeps the 80 minutes. And I don't know, just Eels hookers seem to never work out that well, and I'm just worried that, like, if any stage they do end up putting a utility or a hooker on the bench, then he'll be fucked.
Yeah, and
you'll end up with a 65-minute fucking like 30-minute player or some 30-point player or something. And I don't know.
Yeah, and it's pretty interesting. He didn't actually play 80 minutes. I think Hopgood had an 8-minute cameo at hooker. Where he came off with, I think, 20 to play and then came back on for the last sort of 12 minutes or whatever it was. I do kind of agree with you. Like, he has an offload to hand and a turnover. He's not going to get those kind of stats every week. Everything else largely consistent, like a pretty big tackle count, fuck all meters gained, and not much else to speak about.
The tackle count's the whole thing. He's one of those players who's going to get more tackles than points.
No, exactly right. That's exactly what he did. Even with those other stats, he still only managed 54 with 57 tackles.
Yeah, he comes with missed tackles for sure, and that was a lot more tackles than he usually makes. I think he's a pretty good buy. I'm just not sure that I really want him because he only plays the first major buy, and what other rounds do I want him?
Yeah, I think one thing for me is, and I bought him last week for his 50. He didn't play him or take his score, but he works really well for me with Mamazelis playing the last 2 bye rounds, which he's now injured out for 4 to 6 weeks.
Well, yeah, that was the same thing with me between Mamas and Clark, but obviously out the window.
Yeah, so I don't know what my hooker options are going to look like for those last 2 bye rounds, but I think that really does take away from the appeal of Riley Smith as an option. And how long are they really going to run with a centre on the bench? Like Jordan Samrani's name there, I think he spent 20 minutes in the middle for some reason. Hopgood's just not playing big minutes, so it's just I don't know. I wouldn't talk anyone off Riley Smith, but I think there are better. Maybe not better options, but Jazz Tavanga's almost more interesting than him, which we'll get to in a bit.
Yeah, well, because the thing you sort of got to remember is this time last week and every week beforehand, nobody wanted Riley Smith. His owners didn't want him anywhere near their 17. The only thing that's changed is one good score. So I'd be a little bit wary about that, of sort of people getting fucking their rose-tinted glasses on and just thinking, oh, sweet, well, he's fucking a good scorer now because he got one good score. I mean, Brent Naden's got a fucking good score before. Fucking doesn't mean he's gonna get any more.
No, exactly right. And I think it's sort of determining whether it's an outlier or is he going to start making 50 plus tackles a game? I mean, given his position, it's a possibility. I wouldn't say it's a high likelihood. And maybe teams start targeting him more in defense and he misses more tackles. And I don't know. I'm a bit on the fence. I have him in my team. Wouldn't talk anyone off him, but he's not a red hot
Yeah.
buy, I don't think.
Yeah, there's sort of three. Well, there's three sort of cheapish guys that are sort of competing for a spot, I guess, in my team would be him, Jacob Saifiti, and like you already mentioned, Tavanga. They're all relatively similar prices and can sort of do similar roles in our teams. And at the moment, I'm thinking maybe Saifiti's my favorite of those three, so I'll probably skip Riley. But
Yeah. So I kind of touched on the concept of like trade efficiency in the last pod I was on. I can't remember what it was, but Jacob Saifidi firmly falls into that bucket where he just plays every game until I think it's like round 17 or 18, at which point
yeah,
he'll
18
have
till
likely made all his money and can trade him out anyway. So I
yeah,
really
his
like that.
expires around 18.
I really like that as an option. Considering he has the 1 pointer from running out the tunnel and doing his calf in his rolling average. So I will say not an urgent buy on him either, given his break even still in the 30s. So maybe
It is a
suss
good
it out.
week though,
Yeah.
because I don't have any questions about his role. Not really. I think I know what his role is. I think his role is 45 to 50 minutes in the middle every single week. Would you agree with that?
I agree with that. I will say the one caveat to him maybe not being the best option this week is it's sort of dependent on what happens with Preston and Horse, because Horse has been named, but I don't think he's fully cleared yet. And Preston's been named, but he could have a 4-week suspension. So if those guys are out, your trade should be more focused on point scorers rather than sort of mid-range buy cover guys like Jacob Saifidi. So it
I
just
did.
depends, I guess.
Yeah. I did read an article today that said that they were going to do the testing to see if Horse was sweet for this round before TLT today.
Yeah,
So the fact that he's named makes me think that he's passed that test and it's sweet. I don't have confirmation on that, but reading between the lines, that's what I was thinking.
yeah. I look, I don't know either way, but how he's playing after that tackle is quite
Yeah.
extraordinary. I mean, NRL physio's sort of banged on about it a bit. He was very clearly concussed. Like he couldn't stand up, wobbling all around. So I don't know why we're talking about Horsburgh when we're talking about Para Dolphins, but let's get back on track a bit. So who else is there? Parramatta, Katonga. You probably hold him for the first buy. Any?
May as well at this point. He's not losing money and he plays the round. So I think you got to be careful thinking like, oh shit, I've oversubscribed. I've got one too many centers for that round. I better get rid of one now because right now is round 10. Like in two rounds time, maybe you don't have three centers. Maybe two of them are fucking injured and he would have been, you desperately needed him. So any round 13 guys that are not bleeding cash, I wouldn't move on. Not right now.
No, exactly right. And just to sort of touch on what you said, like we started the season with 1 million centers, and now my only center playing this week before trades is Tamale, because
Yeah.
Toya's on the bye, Toa's still injured, so I'll probably be bringing in Dylan Lucas to make up for that. But yeah, I
Yeah,
wouldn't be
yeah.
not the week to
If
be trading out
Preston's
green dots for mine. I think.
yeah, if Preston's out, I'll probably get Lucas too. But
Yeah.
yeah, any this Hopgood, he's a fucking Neil. He's fucking gone. Even if Horse is fucking, even if Horse is out, I'll probably fucking hold Horse and trade Hopgood. I want Hopgood gone so bad now. I just can't fucking do it anymore, bro. Every week, fucking, it's just a fucking puts a dampener on my week, no matter what else is happening around.
Yeah, I can't believe he's still your
Fucking sick of
team,
it,
to
bro.
be honest. I don't know. It's like,
I know, bro. Well, I didn't think it could get in. Like, I thought it'd come good, but it didn't fucking seem like it is. I don't know if he's got like some rib cartilage injury or something that they're managing to keep real quiet, but I'm fucking over it, bro.
yeah, it's really
I don't even
weird
give a
how they're
fuck if he
using
plays
him.
round 13 anymore.
I will say
Probably.
he's not playing good footy generally, so the fact he's getting small minutes is probably a representation of that. But yeah, I wouldn't be waiting for him to get better. I don't think it's happening this season unless a bunch of forwards go down, and even then they've had a bunch of forwards go down and he's not playing the minutes. So I wouldn't be looking at Hopgood.
I can fucking save, like, I can go down by 40k and get like Aitken and probably get like 15 points a game more than I'm getting. Like, I'm pretty keen to fuck him off. Like, or even if I got fucking Saifiti, fucking, I could get the same amount of points for fucking 200k less. Like, fuck this.
Yeah, exactly right. Okay, cool. That's
Fuck the Eels and fuck their coach.
yeah.
What's their coach's name? What's that cunt's name?
Jason Riles.
Fuck that guy. Fucking homo.
And on the Dolphins, I mean, there's maybe two relevant options here, but they're at price. So Herbie Farnworth and Isaiah Katoa, pretty handy pods. Wouldn't really be rushing to bring either of them in, but they're options that play the first bye and maybe the second. I think they play 2 bye rounds from memory.
If you're still at a point where you need around 12 half, although I imagine at this point most people probably have 2, then I think he's still a good option. But yeah, as I said, I imagine most of us probably have 2 round 12 halves by now. You obviously don't need a third.
Yeah, I think with the emergence of Savala at the Roosters,
Yeah.
we're fine there.
Yeah, and he's not just a fucking 28 point scrub either. Like, he's
250s back to back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think that's about it. Anyone else you want to talk about in this game before we move on?
No.
Sweet. Friday night game, we have an absolute shit show. Newcastle Knights playing the Gold Coast Titans.
Could be fun, though. Could be fun.
It could be a very fun game. So David Fafita out with an ankle injury indefinitely.
Is that right?
Yeah,
right?
One game in Cup where he didn't exactly set the world on fire and he's injured again. So Bo Firma has said the left side is mine. Fafita, this is not your spot in the team, and he's not playing anymore, I guess. So Eddie, I know you're very keen on Kalen Ponga this week. Talk me through that decision making and why you might buy him so close to Origin at his price.
So they said that rib cartilage injury or whatever that he got in round 3 or some shit. So those we've seen in the past when players carry those, their scoring will like be down because like they're good enough to be out there, but they're sort of sore enough that they don't want to do a whole lot extra than they have to. I think that's been holding him back. That shit doesn't last forever. Fucking, that was a long time ago. It happened now. Last week, his form seems to have bounced back. Maybe he's got more confidence in the area, and he probably will go to Origin, and timing's quite poor, but my experience over the years has been when a player like Ponga bottoms out, like at this much of a discount, you just get on or you end up missing out, and there's never a good fucking time to pick him up. And next thing you know, it'd be a great time to have him, but you've waited so long that he's suddenly 700k again. And that's probably going to happen with him. I didn't believe in Reece Walsh bouncing back, but I do believe in Ponga bouncing back. Do you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think he has proven, like, Reece Walsh is a guy that hasn't really, he needs a lot of tries to score well. Kalen Ponga has not scored very many tries in the past couple of years and still is at around that 50 average. He's had 100-point games in the past. He's got 2 really nice matchups before Origin. And like you said, he's just so cheap. Like you probably never see this again.
Well, he's like Walsh if Walsh got more touches and was less of a fuck up.
Yeah, if he didn't have 6 errors a game. I will say his bye schedule is just really, really bad. And so my counterpoint.
That's what I meant about the timing.
Yeah. So my counterpoint to you saying he's bottomed out is just how much money we have this season. Like we have so much
I don't
cash
have
to
as much
spend.
as you.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm not a wealthy man.
I guess you need to take the shots when they come then. But
I do.
I think
I do need
generally
to take some
speaking,
shots.
most people are crawling towards that 14 mil team value already, and it's only round 10. So I'd be hesitant to
I think
bring in
I'm
a
back at like
guy.
13.1.
Oh, Eddie, mate.
What am I at? Yeah, bro. I'm not even 13.2. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I think you could maybe not do it. Like, I don't hate the idea as long as you have
I haven't
sufficient
fully locked
cover.
in on it. There's quite a few different ideas I'm mulling around, and then some of them depends on if Preston's in or out, and but I'm
Yeah.
definitely heavily considering him.
Yeah, I think as long as you can reasonably cover him, you're fine in bringing him in. But you have to talk about sort of the added risk that comes with getting a guy that you know isn't going to play in a few rounds. So you may
Yeah.
be extra short one week where other people aren't.
I don't really have many Origin players.
I think a lot of people don't at this point. It's only the big ones, right? Like May, Haas, and Cleary.
Except I
Um,
don't even have Haas.
you don't have Haas, well, there you go. So,
No.
but you were
So I can
considering
afford to
bringing him
carry
in,
it.
right?
Yeah. Probably not though.
Yeah.
Oh, especially with Horse being back. I think he's back. I don't even think it's doable anymore.
Yeah.
But it was something I was looking at. It wasn't necessarily the most logical thing. It was just I'm so fucking sick of fucking not having Haas. It makes it so hard to watch fucking Broncos games, man.
Oh yeah, man.
But
He's
realistically, I'm probably better off waiting until like round 20 to get Haas.
Yep, makes sense. So I mean, this is interesting. The Knights team this season may be the most fantasy relevant team of all time. I'm looking at the back line. So from Ponga to Sharp, excluding James Schiller, they're all relevant fantasy options. You could absolutely buy any of them. Any of these guys pique your interest? So on the point of Ponga, Dane Gagai's also dropped to 530k, and he's basically been a 50 average
Has
center
he?
for the past however many seasons. So what are your thoughts on Dane Gagai?
Um, to be honest with you, I haven't even thought of him at all. Sort of forgot he existed. I'd need to have a look at his stats. So 530, that is surprisingly cheap. I'm going to assume that's for a reason. Is there any injury games in here?
I don't think so, but 24, 23, both 50 average years. 22 was only a 38, but it was in a pretty average side. Man,
Maybe it's Father Time.
he's a really, really interesting pod option for me. He's only got the one try for the year, but still busting a lot of tackles, still throwing offloads, and still running the ball quite a bit. And visibly, just watching Newcastle, he doesn't seem like he's fallen off that much. Like you look at his missed tackles, he's got a lot of missed tackles, but that's just always been a Dane Gagai thing, missing a lot of tackles. So that's one that I'm tossing up as a big pod option. Who is
It doesn't really fit my team. And he's only got 250. He's got 252s, and everything else has been sub.
yeah, oh,
Yeah,
man,
it might just be a Father Time issue potentially. I'm not sure.
potentially. Bradman, Best, Marzu, Fletcher Sharp, all guys you could have. I think most people have Fletcher Sharp by now. 3-try performance on the weekend against the Rabbitohs was really, really good. Very quick. Marzu somehow scored 55. I felt like he did nothing. He was on 5 points at halftime and ended on 55. Anyone else in the back line that interests you?
No, Bradman doesn't interest me in the slightest. I've got Sharp. I still think you can pick Sharp up.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he's a bad option. I don't think he's going to lose his spot. And he's quite clearly, like, he's got 30 tackles in his base, which is almost unheard of for a half. Yeah, just really, really impressive. Hopefully, as Newcastle get better, we've got more players back in the team now. He starts to get more attacking stats. So
He's
brings me,
kind of like a more. He's kind of like a more reliable Dylan Brown. Like fucking.
yeah,
Just reminds me of Dylan Brown when he's on a hot streak.
absolutely. And then we
That
get
seems to be his normal.
Yeah, and then we get to the forward pack. So we've already sort of touched on Jacob Saifidi. Leo Thompson is still an option if you're looking for sort of a pod mid who posts keeper level scores. And then Lucas and Kai Pearce Paul. I mean, we talked about Lucas is no brainer. If you can afford him, if you need a center, buy him. I'll be buying him this week. Kai Pearce Paul keeps up his really good scoring this year with a 60. Any interest in any of those guys outside of Saifidi?
Yeah, if Lucas is out, there's a very good. Sorry, if Preston's out, there's a very good chance that I get Lucas to replace him.
Yeah, I don't think there needs to be too much said about Lucas. He's been very strong to start the year.
He's
63
not a
against
must-have,
us.
but he's a great buy.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, he's basically the same price as Bo Firma now, but has a better buy schedule. So I'd
I just
lean
trust him
towards
more than Bo
Lucas.
Firma as well. I owned Lucas early this year, and I had to get rid of him when he got hurt. But he's so good to watch. You just know, you're just comfortable as. It's like when you're watching Preston play. Like you just know he's going to get all his tackles, he's going to get his run meters, and it's just going to work out fine. Um,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
yeah, I think Firma probably will make Origin, and Lucas almost certainly will not.
Yep, agree with that. Um, so let's go to the Titans then. The big one, after only 2 weeks, Jaden Campbell is back in the number 7 jersey. How keen are you to buy him straight back?
He's an option. In order to get him, I'd have to choose him over like Tapane or Lucas, though. So and he doesn't play around
12.
12, so it seems like something I could wait till round 13 to do. More than likely. I am interested though, and I also not huge on getting guys' first game back from injury as well.
Yeah, I mean, we saw with Matt Burton when he came back, he didn't goal kick straight away. So part of me thinks maybe there's a risk that Campbell doesn't goal kick or have
Who's
the
been kicking the goals?
Weaver, I think. Weaver or Brian Kelly, one of the two.
Weaver won't be playing though.
No,
Um,
so it'll either be him or Brian Kelly. But look, Brian Kelly's not a great goal kicker, even though he can goal kick, as we saw on the weekend. Um, but yeah, I don't know, man. I'd be pretty tempted to bring him straight back in. He's sort of
yeah, it is real good. He's not like super undervalued or anything though.
no,
So you
he's
could, like, you could get him now, or you could wait. I think it's fine either way.
yeah, he's absolutely outpriced, but he is the best wing fullback in fantasy, and by quite a long way, I think.
Drinkwater's closed the gap a lot.
He has, but he's still averaging almost 10 points less than him. It's
Not in the last fucking like 5 or 6 weeks though.
I mean, let's look at Campbell's scores before he got injured. I think his last score was a 77, so
He's
76,
averaging
46,
he's
65.
averaging 61. Yeah, so he is averaging more, but yeah.
Yeah. I think the issue might be that the Titans they look so bad right now. They can still score points, which, I mean, Jaden Campbell you'd expect would be a big part of that. But they just look like I think Newcastle should win this game fairly comfortably, and they should have some joy out wide, I think.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's definitely an option. It's unlikely to be the one I do grab this week, but he's definitely an option. Brimson can get the fuck out of my team as well. Fucking, I've had him and Hopgood since round 1, and I'm over them. He's maybe
yeah,
40. He's maybe 40k, but it's taken like fucking 9 rounds to.
he's just a very annoying player to own. Like he needs to do so much to score well, and
Yeah,
he's not in a good enough team to be doing that all the time. So yeah,
yeah.
get rid of him as long as you don't need the green dot this week.
His break
Someone,
even. No. I should be able to get rid of him.
yep,
Certainly, if Lucas gets off, then I'll
nice.
definitely fucking get rid of him. Not Lucas. Preston. I keep saying Lucas and I mean Preston.
And then I think it's just really both Firma. Like Tino is interesting to me, but with Origin, I don't think he's worth
No.
looking at. But
No.
he's playing close to 65 minutes a game, and just he looks so good. Tackle breaking, offloading, just doing everything at the moment. One to watch post Origin, I think.
I can't see a world where I bring in a non-round 12 middle before round 12.
Mhm.
I'm so struggling to fill that spot.
And without harping on Firma too much, probably I'm not going to say it's too late because he's probably at price at the moment. He's been killing it lately, but he's not the most appealing with Lucas also available.
I don't think he's a buy anymore.
Yes, unfortunately, Fafita making a miraculous recovery stopped me from getting him 2 weeks ago. So I've missed out on the 100 and the 68. So I'm not all that lucky, Eddie.
Hey, was that interaction between Fafita and Dez, was that made up, or is that a joke, or is that real?
Look, I think it's been exaggerated. But look, one thing I will say is before the Titans game, the reserve grade coach, there was an article on Code Sport, and the guy was talking about how he thought Dez wasn't using him properly because he's a left edge back rower and he's been playing on the right all season. The one game he played on the left was against St. George, and where he killed it, by the way. And so that makes me think there's definitely truth to it, that he wants to play left. And obviously, Bo Firma's playing lights out footy at the moment, so you're not dropping him. So there has to be some truth to it. I don't think he was dropped just because he said, I want to play on the left, though. I think that's a bit
I
far.
love the way it was worded. It was like, oh, you should be playing me on the left edge, and fucking the rumor has it that Dez turned around and said, yeah, you can play left edge in reserve grade. Which sort of does add up with what happens, so it could be true, but it could also just be made up for the lulz, so who knows.
It's a very funny conclusion to draw. I mean, I'm gonna hope it's not true, but
I like to hope that it is true.
would be a very fun way to coach. Like, hey, by the way, you're on $1 million. Go play reserve grade.
Fuck yeah. Well, that's what he did.
Yeah, effectively. All right. Next game on Friday, we got South versus the Broncos. Jamie Humphries, the Adonis, back in the halves. Latrell back at fullback. And the hub, everyone's favourite, is now starting at lock with Jairo moving to prop.
Hub starting again makes my life a lot easier because whether he was starting or not, I was stuck with him this week and possibly having to play him. Well, I'm definitely playing him now, so it's really nice to have him back starting again.
Yeah, and it looks like Duncan sort of won that edge role in a sense. Like he's playing 80 minutes there. Kaloa Matangi's moved to the middle, which is a really interesting one. This South side is probably the best side they've put out on paper in terms of forward pack all year, outside of Pete the Greek being out. I'm not sure if anyone's too fantasy relevant that we don't already have, though. Maybe you and Aitken, could you?
I'm very, very, very interested in Aitken.
All right, hit me with it.
He's priced at like 580 at the moment because of those shitty centre games. One in particular was real low. At second, when he plays second row, like Bennett gives him 80 minutes, and he will. In second row, he's just a flat out 50s player, like 53 average sort of thing. At the moment, he's priced at like fucking 43 or some shit. He's not going to play round 12, but he's going to play the other two major buys. So yeah, I'm keen as. He's a player I always like jumping on. So break even, I think, of 54 this week, but that's about what I expect him to get. And sort of about points now. Like I fully expect him to come out and get a 50 this week, and every other week that he plays there.
I think if
points on the board.
If he still had the centre dual position, he would be
I think he's going to
instantly into everyone's team.
I think he's going to get it. I don't know. I can't remember. I think it's still a while away till that happens, but I think he's going to get it.
I don't think he will. I mean, look, it's a bit subjective. He has played 3 games in the centres. He's been named.
People keep saying it's subjective, but lately I've seen every time someone's played 3 games, they've been doing it. I reckon they will.
See, I expected him to get it in the last round of dual position updates because at that point in time, he'd only played 2 games for the season and was named at centre in both games. So to me, it was weird that he didn't get it.
But he's a good second rower anyway, and plays both the two next major buys. He's going to be useful as fuck.
Yeah,
And he's a keeper. Even as on your interchange at the end of the year, he's a keeper.
yeah, he's good enough to be like your
He's a 50 to
17th man,
55 guy.
I reckon.
Fucking oath he is.
Yeah, look, I don't hate it. Whenever you can get someone that cheap that can score that well, it's obviously going to be a
Yeah.
decent option. It's just about getting the timing right. So much of fantasy is about timing your trade-ins at the right time, and Aitken might be one of those guys this year. If he goes
I
on
mean,
and
to be fair, his timing's at least as good, if not better, than the timing for JC. In
no,
fact, definitely better.
absolutely. But I think JC is like top one in his position, whereas
And
Aitken,
it's definitely better timing than Ponga.
Yeah.
I'm also considering.
absolutely. I mean, he could be a huge pod if he comes out and nabs a try against the Broncos and scores a 70. You're the only bloke that's got him. It's huge. Like he's almost a straight swap for Dylan Egan. Not that you'd sell Dylan Egan, but
Oh, you're fucking straight swap for fucking. It only cost me like 60K to fucking go from Brimson to him, and that feels like a massive upgrade.
yeah. I mean, I can't knock it. I can't knock you for looking at him. Yeah.
I reckon I reckon I most likely will get him this week.
No, it's a good shout. Tallis Duncan playing 80 minutes on an edge is also maybe an option. He's been scoring. He scores well on the edge and scores horrible in the middle. It's really strange. Look, I wouldn't do it myself, but one to consider maybe if he's playing 80 minutes on an edge week in, week out. Brisbane.
I don't trust. I don't trust him keeping that job. I don't know.
Yeah.
I do trust Aiken keeping his job though, as long as he doesn't end up having to play centre, which could happen again.
Which I think is a very, very real risk.
Yeah, I'll worry about that later.
Especially with South, just like I can't remember the last time they went 80 minutes without an injury. So.
Oh mate, they're lucky to go to a training session without an injury.
Brisbane, there's not a lot of relevance here.
Hold on, we should talk about the fact that fucking old mate's back.
Humphreys, yeah. Well, I did mention him. I don't think he should be on anyone's radar for this week.
Nah, well, I think his break even's 70, and so two price losses and then pick him up on 13 could be a goer. It'd be interesting to see what Trell being back does to, and how many kick meters Trell decides to take. I don't think Trell's going to have massive kick meters anymore, but we're probably not going to get those as big kick meters from Hubner as we were earlier in the season, which was huge. Like Trell, I'm pretty sure will take something, right?
Yeah, I find Souths over rely on Latrell, and so that ends up in him just doing fucking everything basically. Like he kicks and he takes the goal kicking off Humphreys as well. So I'd want to wait and see how they play together, but he could be a good option over the bye rounds regardless. You know, Latrell tends to get suspended a lot or injured, and he'll be out playing Origin. So
you'll probably be able to get him in round 13 with under 600K. In which case, fucking go on then.
yeah, I mean, you wouldn't be upset with it, especially given how hot he started the season. I mean, I don't think goal kicking accounted for that many of his points early in the year. Like you take it back and maybe he's only a 60 average over the first 4 rounds, but it'll be interesting to see because he actually spent some time at lock previously as well, which I don't think he'll do with all the forwards back on deck.
Nah, but he's making a lot of tackles anyway. Even if he goes back to being like a low 50s guy, fuck, if you can get that for like 595K, fuck, I'd take that all day. Especially in round 13 and he plays the next two major buys. Definitely fucking keep a star on that motherfucker.
Absolutely, because I don't think Hugo Savala will still be in the Roosters team in round 15. We know the Roosters play all the bye rounds. Well, what's his name? Sam Walker? Sam Walker's back in 13, I think.
No, I heard 14, 15. And I don't think Sam Walker's going to return from his injury layoff immediately into first grade. I reckon he's going to have 2 games in second grade.
Possible. I mean, if the Roosters are still winning at that point, then
Sometimes
yeah.
they put Sam Walker in reserve grade when he's fucking healthy, and it's been a long layoff. I'd be shocked if he doesn't play a minimum of one reserve grade game. I'd be shocked.
Yeah. It could happen. Look, I don't know in terms of timing, but I'm using that as a point for Humphreys. So
Yeah.
if Savala's not there come round 15 or whenever the second bye is, then Humphreys is a really strong consideration.
Yeah, well, because Fogarty's one of my halves, and Fogarty won't be there in round 15.
Yep, same for me. So yeah, definitely one to consider for us. I don't think there's much else to say on that. Keep an eye on Kaloa Matangi, because if Kaloa Matangi is playing the same role that he played last year, I know he was named 13, but if he's playing really big minutes in the middle, then he's just a fantasy god. So keep an eye on that one. Brisbane,
Typically one to look at in round 13.
Yeah. Brisbane, interesting that Ezra Mam hasn't come straight back into the team. Ben Hunt still named in the halves despite some poor form. Willison named on the edge again. I think he got injured. So if you jumped on him, unlucky, probably time to, cut your losses and run. Pierre Cora, 50 and 80 minutes last week. I think a bit fortunate with with Willison's injuries. Straight back to the bench. So unfortunately...
it's a shame he didn't get one more start on the second row if I can trap people into him.
I would have been pretty tempted myself.
I know. But no, we don't have to worry about
that. Anything else to be said about this game? Anything you think worth mentioning about Pete the Greek? Like, who are you trading him to?
It depends on how I set it up. I mean, could be Ponga, could be Aitken, could be fucking could be Saifidi. People might get on Riley Smith, one of those sort of players.
Yeah. There's
a few options around.
All right. So now on to the top of the table clash. Canberra Raiders and the Bulldogs kick off Super Saturday. Corey Horsburgh and Preston have both been named. I don't know if we'll find out what the go is with Preston before the end of the pod, but obviously he's an easy hold if he's still playing. If he's not playing, he's almost definitely a trade. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Doesn't he miss like 5 games in a row if he fucking isn't successful?
Yeah, so he misses 4, and that I think they have a bye round in there as well. So he misses too many games to hold, I think. If he's out,
5 games in a row.
Yeah. If he's out, I think I might trade him straight to Jaden Campbell. I know you said Lucas, but I have enough money to trade Stafford Toa to Lucas, so that would be Preston to Campbell for me.
Yeah. Well, so you could get both.
Yeah, exactly right. But otherwise, I don't know. I'd have to consider what's going on. Yeah, I'll tell you who the most annoying player in both of these teams are is Matty fucking Nicholson. He just keeps posting big numbers. He's playing 80 minutes. Like, I refuse to buy him at this point. I hate him. No. I'm not paying that price for him, but he is scoring like a top level edge forward. Would you talk anyone out of buying him? 57.6 average.
No, I feel the same as you do, but I couldn't launch a good argument into why not.
Exactly right. I mean, look, he just looks like a really good player, to be honest. He's always so involved. I'm surprised his run.
Ricky's pretty fucking happy with him, and it seems like his minutes are not under threat. And then going into Origin, Hudson Young definitely will be going to Origin. I'd be shocked if he wasn't. I mean, he's been the form edge of the com. So I'm pretty sure Nicholson's 80-minute role seems pretty safe.
So I'll tell you what, this Canberra team reminds me
still fuck him.
Of, I think it was the 2016 team where Jared Croker, Joseph Leilua, and Rapana were all like 50 average players. And it doesn't happen every year, but this is happening to their forward pack. Corey Horsburgh, Joseph Tapine, Matty Nicholson, Hudson Young, all just absolutely braining fantasy this season. So I guess my question for that is, One, is Joe Tarpany worth paying 780K for? And two, what are you doing with Corey Horsburgh if he's out?
So Tapani is a guy that I've been seriously considering this week. I don't fucking love the price. This is the second most expensive he's ever been in his career, which is a fucking long career.
Mm.
And he's probably about price, and he is good for buy coverage. But I just feel so wrong spending that much on him.
You know,
So I don't know. It's putting me off a little bit. I certainly think he's a good option that people should definitely consider. I just don't know if I want to pay that for him. I
yeah,
don't know.
if we take into account his last couple of seasons, right? He's been almost exactly a 53-point average player every year. He's been somewhere between
Yeah.
that sort of 53 to 1 year of 55. Like I said, Canberra are doing very well this year, so it might be as a result of their forward pack's so good, he's getting more tackle breaks, more chances to offload, and probably as a result, more tries. I don't know. I'm really torn on him because he is the best mid in round 12, I think. And he's certainly a more
Yeah, he
appealing
is.
option than like a Max King or an AFB. If I go back to what I was saying before about us having, well, when I say us, about the general population of fantasy players having a lot of cash, I don't hate him as a buy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't hate him as a buy either. Just trying to figure out exactly how I can extend my cash out a bit. But if you've got plenty of cash to burn, yeah, he's a good option. He plays two of the majors. I mean, Horse will probably be going to Origin, and he'll be making. So he should get plenty of points over this period. So I should probably keep continuing to seriously consider him. To be fair, I
Yeah,
just hate the price tag.
I
I
think
can be
so
a bit of
too.
a Jew like that, though.
No, I'm the same. I hate paying top dollar for players, and I think it's
Yeah,
something
so do
that
I.
you play fantasy enough, you just look for the bargains, right? And I mean, if you can
Yeah,
get
I'm a bit like that in real life too. I don't mind a fucking sale, eh?
stingy bastard.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
so you have Fogarty, obviously still a good option for anyone considering. Corey Horsburgh, what are you doing if he's not playing? It looks like he is, but just humor me.
Um, Probably holding just so that I can trade fucking that fucking faggot Hopgood out of my team. For most people though, if he is out, I would recommend trading him.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've
Because
sort of.
I fully expect him to make Origin.
So do I. I mean, I just find it hard to believe he doesn't. He isn't in Queensland's best forward pack. He's
Yeah,
been really strong
but
this season.
yeah, as I mentioned earlier, though, like the article I read today did say that he was getting his clearing thing done before 4 o'clock today. So, which is when TLT is named. So, at the moment, I'm just going to assume that he's playing
Mm-hmm.
because I'm assuming that they named that knowing that whether he was cleared or not.
Yeah, I would think so too. But just in case, it's good to have contingency
Yeah,
plans. For the Bulldogs, we have Jacob Kiraz fresh off 100 points.
yeah,
Mate,
boy.
it's bloody annoying as a non-owner.
He's my favorite lib.
If he doesn't play Origin, he, apart from maybe James Tedesco, is probably the best wing fullback during the bye period. Agree?
Due to the
Disagree?
fact, um, oh, it depends how you look at it. If you're only looking at the fact that he plays all three major buys, then yep. But Sharp and Drinkwater have pretty strong arguments.
That's fair.
They
Absolutely.
they both play two of the major buys, and they're probably both a bit safer.
I don't.
Especially Drinkwater. I
Yes.
think Drinkwater is the only person that could fucking step to JC in regards to who the top winger fullback of the year will be.
Yeah, that's fair. Look,
The role he's playing is like prime Ponga.
absolutely. I will say with Kiraz, I owned him all of last season, and
So did I.
I think he looks better this year. Um, there was a bit of chat from NRL Physio saying that he played through a lot of last year with like a hip or back injury, which didn't keep him out of games, but it was like a sort of pain tolerance thing. And the reason he didn't start this season is because they were getting that right. And so now that that's right,
He's very fun to own too.
he's very annoying to not own. I'll say that much. He's just that offload, the little basketball pass out the back. It seems unstoppable. Like, how do you wrap the bloke's bloody arms up at this point?
Yeah.
I think he's
You know what?
sorry.
Players like him are frustrating when you don't own them because you see him, he'll fucking do a crab run where he busts like 3 players and then does an offload to hand. And then 2 fucking plays of the ball later, you see him running the ball again. You're like, fuck.
Yeah, he's just he's a terror
He
to
gets
not
fucking
own.
stuck in.
Terror
It
to
doesn't
not
matter
own.
that he's a winger fullback because he's a winger fullback that has fucking more touches than most fullbacks. So
Exactly right, and he's an aerial target for the Bulldogs as well. So he's going to pick up try assists just by virtue of jumping for those high balls close to the line, playing in one of the best sides in the league. Like, I think it's not too late to still buy him. He's just so strong. Like,
oh no, it's not too late. It's definitely not too late.
such a strong option. Yeah.
I noticed Brian To'o's named this week, so he's in Origin. He's got one of those wing spots locked up. Was Lomax named? I can't
No,
remember.
Lomax was not named. I
Fuck, he
think
better
he's
be named next
expected
week.
back next week.
All right, but it's
Yeah,
important that To'o was named this week because To'o couldn't be named next week. So so it's good.
yeah. I think
So
the only problem with him is Origin, because obviously if he makes the Origin side, then he is one of the worst options throughout the entire buy period.
yeah,
Um,
as long as Lomax is back next week, then I think Carrez will be safe.
I think so
But
too.
I think if Lomax is out, then Carrez is a very big chance of filling that spot.
Part of
I
me
just refuse to
thinks,
believe that Lomax isn't going to be back because that's too horrible for me to think of.
yeah, part of me thinks that Tom Trebojevic might be ahead of him as well if we're going down that route, even if Lomax isn't available. So I don't know. It depends how good he plays the next 2 weeks. Like, if he comes out and kills the Raiders, it'll be hard to deny him an Origin spot, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Who
I
else
think he's
is?
a good buy anyway. I bought him 2 weeks ago, and he's still a buy. He's not that expensive.
No, great
Yet.
timing. And if the
If you wait until Origin to find out, he will be too expensive though.
yeah,
So it's
well,
either just make up a decision now.
if the narrative around him being fully fit this year when he wasn't last year is true, then he might just average like 55 or something ridiculous. So heaps of upside in a guy like Jacob Kiros. So then we go to Matt Burton back this week. I don't know if he's getting the kicking tee back, to be honest. Stephen Crichton's kicked 22 goals in a row. It would be pretty hard to take the kicking off him.
I wouldn't be going anywhere near Matt Burton before round 12 at the very fucking earliest. I'd want to see, well, his break even's high, and yeah, definitely want to take a couple of weeks to see what happens with the goal kicking and kicking.
Mhm.
And then if we've already got our round 12 halves, then we won't even have to worry. So he's just a watch and see what happens sort of guy for me at the moment.
Yeah, he's not very
I wouldn't be
appealing.
surprised if I wouldn't be surprised if he bounces back, but it's not something I'd be willing to invest in until I see him start to bounce back.
Yeah, he's one of those guys where it's really tricky to time when he'll be a good purchase. Obviously, if he
That's right.
doesn't play Origin, he is, but
Yeah.
he's also the kind of guy that can score 80 on any given week, regardless of who he's playing against. So, interesting option, not one I think we'll be taking anytime soon, maybe around 12, stay posted. The only other one, and very relevant for buy period, is Max King. So, have you had a look at him this season?
Yeah, his form minutes have dropped off a bit in the last couple of weeks, so he could still be an option in round 12, but it's certainly a wait. And like a lot of these sort of gunnish sort of mid options for round 12, it's wait till round 12 and then see what's happening at that point because his price is going down as opposed to up. Same sort of thing with AFB, you could lump them in together.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to do. You've beat me. You've jumped the gun there. But
Yeah.
I think he's got a bigger role than AFB has. So if you're looking towards someone like
So do I.
AFB, I would lean more towards Max King. I don't think either of them are really strong keepers. They might be, but given how strong the mid
They're
position
bench
is,
keepers. They're bench
yeah,
keepers.
they're like fringe keepers, let's say. But
They're like the
King,
guys the guys I'll be happy to fucking have sitting in my interchange at the end of the year. But they're obviously nothing on fucking guys like Haas and May and Couchman, etc. They're definitely a cut below.
yeah, exactly. But with the benefit of playing all the major buy rounds.
Yeah.
So yeah, wouldn't talk anyone
But
out of Max King, but if you don't
but
have him
not this week.
now, you may as well just wait.
Not
Yeah,
this week.
exactly
Yeah,
right.
because the price is on the fall as opposed to the rise.
Yep, and coming up against a very good pack in Canberra. Uh,
No doubt.
do you want to talk Reed Marnie, or it's just not worth a conversation? Because he's an option for the same reason. Now that Pete the Greek's out, he covers all 3 buy rounds as a hooker.
Oh, he'd have to be a gut feel pick, fucking about if you just feel like he's going to bounce back. Fucking, I've seen enough of Reed Mahoney in recent times that I don't want to own him.
No, fair enough. He's at a very enticing price, let's say. But I will say he didn't play 80 minutes against South or Brisbane, and his coach basically said Bailey Hayward was playing too good. I could not take him off the field. So there's almost a minute's risk with him now. So we won't
Yeah,
help.
and even averaging 80 minutes every week, there's no fucking guarantee at all. He fucking averages more than like mid 40s anyway. Like,
Absolutely.
so nah, he's not for me.
Let's not harp on about him for too long. To the
No.
next game, we have St. George versus the Warriors. Still no Fisher Harris for the Warriors, but I believe Watini Zalesniak is back this week. Not that he's fantasy relevant by any means. Did Egan end
Good for
up
the Warriors though.
playing 80 the other day when Healy came on?
Who was that?
Uh,
Egan.
Egan, did he play 80 minutes last week? He must have, right?
Nah, I think he might have played like 70 odd or something.
Let's have a quick look. Egan, 72 minutes, yeah. That significantly sort of turns me off him, I think. If they're ever going to
It
run
does.
a bench hooker.
He had a lower score. I think he's very much full price.
Yeah. And look, I know we've said this every week for
You
10
could do
rounds.
worse, but you could do worse, but I mean, we're talking about some names during this podcast that I'd certainly be picking ahead of him.
Mhm. Aaron Clark seems to just be growing in stature every week. I was disrespecting him earlier in the year. I did not think he was as good of a player as he has
Yeah, you
proven to
were.
be for the Warriors.
I challenged you on that as well because you're like, he's a rubbish player. I was like, fuck, have you been watching, bro? He's been playing mean.
I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
historically, he has been pretty rubbish. I can't say I was paying really close attention to him earlier in the year, but he's been really impressive the last few weeks. So I wouldn't talk anyone out
He's
of him.
been, he's been good since day one this year.
hmm I think
Uh,
he's earned the minutes he's playing. Like Fisher Harris might have
absolutely.
an impact on the minutes he plays, but I don't think he's going to go from playing 70 minutes back to sort of 40 to 45 minutes. I think it'll.
He's the lead. He's the leader of our fucking pack on attack, bro. Like fully. Like it ain't Barnett, it's him.
hmm I mean, interestingly, when they took him off, that's when the Cowboys started scoring all their tries.
And they brought
And,
him straight
and
back on
yeah,
again.
they went, shit, we need to get him back on the field. He's leading the defensive line. He's taking all these hit ups. Like 200 meters run for a forward is heaps, unless you're Payne Haas. And Aaron Clark, while he is a talented player in his own right, does not have the athleticism of a Payne Haas. Like, so I don't know why I'm talking so much about Aaron Clark, but still a buy, I think. Like really
Yeah,
good mid and hooker coverage for round
he's the
12.
man. Um, I think that if anyone thinks that they're worried about, when fucking James Fisher Harris is coming back, he's got to go back to 45 minutes because that's what he played when he was there last time. That's fucking dumb way to think because he's been absolutely killing it and his role's clearly changed. There's no chance of him going back to 45 minutes. I don't see him getting less than 50 to 55 at worst case.
Yeah,
What if you watch him when he's on the field now? He's evolved into some sort of leadership role. Like I see him like barking orders, and he's into everything. Like on attack, Barnett takes a back seat to him.
he's very much a tone setter in that team. Like I said,
He's
he
a
leads the line speed in defense and is just involved with everything. So, uh,
he's the biggest carrier.
big fan of him. After watching the last few weeks, anything I said about him being crap earlier in the season, wipe that away.
I think he could end up between now to the end of the season. There's a chance he's the best hooker in the fucking fantasy.
If he keeps playing 60 plus minutes, there is a very real chance that's true.
Might drop back to more like 55, but that's still enough.
Mhm.
He's better than Harry Grant. He's better than Watson. Egan's the only really one that could challenge him for that, really.
Yeah, it's surprising given how hot Watson started that he isn't really scoring that well lately. I don't know what's happened there, but he's fallen off. Leka Halasima played 80 minutes against the Cowboys, and Kurt Capel's now in the centers. Looks to have won that edge role.
I think Capel had to move out into the centres last week, though, so I don't know if Lecker was actually going to play 80 or not.
Right, okay. Did Rocco Berry went down, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
I
interesting.
suspect Lecker was it. I suspect Lecker wouldn't have played 80 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, look, it says something about him that as a rookie player, he can get through 80 minutes in a tight game and they still win and not sort of get punished for that. So I wouldn't buy him, but if you had him
No.
for whatever reason, good on you. He's going quite well.
Yeah, you're definitely holding until round 13 at worst.
Mm-hmm. And so now we go to another very relevant fantasy team, especially when it comes to forwards, the St. George Dragons. So Lecken King Togia. Did you hop on him first week? A pretty good first showing from him.
Yeah, I did.
You didn't play him, did you?
No, I didn't.
Nice. Look, I wouldn't talk anyone out of buying him. Very tiny
I'll
break
flat out
even.
talk you into it.
Look, I might give him a miss.
Cashier of the week.
I
It's
may
cashier of the week.
I may not buy him. I don't think he fits any of my buy plans. And while he did have a really strong score first up, I don't know if it's sustainable. 2 try assists, a line break, and 2 line break assists. He's not going to be doing that every week. Turnover in there as well.
The ball's rolling though, so he'll make cash.
Yeah, no,
He's definitely cashier of the week. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
I think he is on paper, but then you look at guys like sort of Riley Smith and Jazz Tavanga, who I think.
Yeah, I don't really consider 400k guys in the same sort of territory though.
Right. Okay. Look, if we're talking about pure cash outs, then yeah, he definitely is. Like there isn't even really anyone else that I can think of that comes to mind. But yeah, a really good first up showing from him. It's not his debut for the Dragons, but it was his debut at halfback. So I mean, if he can keep that up, who's to say he doesn't kick on, produce some good scores? My only concern with bringing him in would be if you had to play him, especially on a week like this where there are so many roosters out. I wouldn't be overly comfortable with actually playing him in my 17.
Oh, no, one off would be alright. I wouldn't want to be regularly playing him though.
Yeah.
But no, I think he's a really good buy. Strong buy.
Yep. Dylan Egan, named to start again, just blitzed it last week. Really good. 79 when last week we were talking about maybe this guy is a get off early. He's only playing 50 minutes. And
I never said that.
No. That's just sort of like the general fantasy chat was, he's only playing 50 minutes. If he only plays 50 minutes again, he might be a trade out. But
yeah, well, a lot of people fucking have goldfish brains in fantasy where they think that fucking whatever the last week's minutes is, it must be his new role now. Like too many assumptions.
absolutely. Hamish Stewart starting at lock. Does that interest you at all?
I'm unlikely to do it. It's a bad fit for me. I mean, I've got other options I'm interested in, but it seems to have pushed Jack DeBellin out of the team, and he's making money fast. There's got to be at least 100K in him there, I'd say, as if he keeps that spot. If you do, like, there's no wait and see bullshit here, though. Like, either fucking get him this week or don't get him at all, because he's just going to get away.
Yeah, I agree with that. Look, I think this Dragon side have decided that this year we're going to blood all of our really promising rookies, and
It
we're going to
seems to be
show
that way.
them. Yeah, we're going to show them what it's like to play first grade week in, week out. And Jack DeBellin, as good of a servant to the club as he's been, he's clearly not going to be there in a few years' time. So
He's a
Hamish
player on
Stewart,
the decline now, I think, anyway. DeBellin's not the same player he was a couple of years ago.
exactly. And look, I've had Hamish Stewart described to me by someone close to St George as the next Isaiah Yo. So take from that what you will. I'm not sure that he'll be quite that good fantasy wise, but certainly an option and a sneaky one at
Yeah,
that.
yeah, valid option. What's his price? It's still like relatively low, eh?
Yeah, 414k.
I think he's got a really small break even.
8 is his break even.
Yeah, so definitely an option. Probably, I probably won't get him, but absolutely wouldn't talk anyone out of him.
Yeah, really strong. All those Dragons guys are really strong for the last 2 buy rounds. After round 12, they become like red hot options. So if you can navigate the first buy round well enough, then I mean, I wouldn't hate buying him. He's someone with a lot of upside, like a metric shit ton of upside.
Yeah. I wouldn't rule out me getting him actually, but I don't know.
And
I
then
just have to, see
yeah,
what works.
the only other interesting person in this game is I think the debut of Pacifici Tonga. Just there's so many wraps around this guy. I don't think he's going to play big minutes. I suspect he only
No,
plays
neither
like a
do I.
10 to 20 minute role. But this guy is absolutely the future of the club. Like he's a monster. He's been talented as the next big thing through the juniors, through everything. So one to keep an eye on. Definitely don't rush into bringing him into your side.
Yeah, not this week. Yeah.
Yep.
It'll be interesting seeing how he goes in a really narrow game.
Which brings
How old
us.
is he? He's still
He's
young as
19.
fuck. You said, eh?
He's
Yeah,
19. Yeah.
which is very young for a middle.
It's it's not common for
He is a
props
middle way.
to
Yeah,
debut before 20 years of age. So that sort of says
unless they're
something
paying
about how
us.
good he is. Yeah, unless they're paying Haas. But
I
he's
suspect he probably isn't.
no. Well, I'm not saying no because I've never seen him play, but certainly wouldn't think so. Okay, next game, last game on Saturday, Cowboys and the Panthers. Not a lot to talk about on the Cowboys side of things. Drinkwater still a raging option, as Eddie has talked about all pod.
Yeah. I just want to say something about Drinky.
Mhm.
Don't worry about fucking round 12 buy it. Just if you can get Drinky, just fucking get him. By the time you get to round 13, he's going to be fucking expensive. He's kicking big kick meters. He's kicking the goals. He's attacking well. Everything's going through him. He's got the dream. He's on good form in the dream role. And he's going to play every round between round 13 till round 26. Just go get him. If you can, just go get him.
Yeah, look, I love Scott Drinkwater. He is one of my favorite players in the competition.
Yeah, I own him. I often own him.
And I think I've bought him for the past 3 years straight at the same point of the year. And I got him, I think, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he scored 75 and 68 since I've done it. So, like, it's a no brainer. With goal kicking, Drinkwater is a gun, a keeper gun. So, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't talk anyone out of it.
Don't get too stressed about round 12. I mean, when you get to round 12, you got 3 trades you can bring in 3 more green dots with. So fucking.
Well, I think we get 4 on that
Don't
week,
get
don't we?
like. Try to think beyond round 12. Well, you have 3, 4, whatever. Point is, you can fucking fix up whatever holes you've got then, if need be.
Yeah.
Just don't get too obsessed with one round. Fantasy's 27 rounds.
Absolutely. No one else worth talking about in the Cowboys, but then we go to
Nah.
the Panthers.
Oh,
Yep.
Purdue's still just a hold, actually, so there's nothing to say about that.
Yeah, although I would not hate trading Purdue out. I will say
I
that.
wouldn't talk you against it if the trade was good enough.
But on a week where a lot of people don't have centers, he's probably a hold.
Yeah. I know Ham was looking at a trade with to potentially trade him out, but I'd say most of his owners probably have other people to trade out ahead of him, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of players no longer starting, Tom Jenkins has been named on the bench for Penrith.
Fucking good. Fucking that Ranger fucking cunt fucking pissed me off. Fucking scored that after I traded him out, so I'm fucking glad he's dropped. I knew Longy was on the piss when you and him were arguing on his podcast about that. Fucking I don't know why he thought fucking he was so sure that he'd go back to centre. I was pretty sure he wasn't. It seemed like Penrith were doing everything they could to not play him at centre. I mean, even when they didn't fucking pick the other candidate centre, they moved to second rower there just to not play him there.
Yeah, well, he's played very, very little centre. Like
Nah, he just played
people
a game or
saying,
two at the start of the year.
yeah, people saying he was gonna win the centre spot, and he still might. Like Ivan may change the team last minute, but
I don't think so.
after I think Luke Garner's actually been a surprisingly good centre. Um, so yeah, I don't know if I'd trade him now. Like if you've held him this long, you may as well hold out till round 12. I would say, but
No, I don't know.
a really
He
annoying
doesn't. He
one.
doesn't play. He doesn't play this week. He doesn't play next week. He's pretty shit generally. I'd trade it. I mean, you're stacking red. I mean, I imagine everyone's got a bunch of red dots this week. He'd be one of the fucking easiest of those red dots to fuck off.
Well, he's still in the team. He's just on the bench.
Oh, that's even worse.
It's not great.
That means you're definitely not making any money out of him, no matter what happens.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't hate either
You're just
way.
about to get it. He's going to come out and get a fucking 5, and that's going to be in his rolling average.
Look, I hope so. As someone that traded him out, that would be fantastic if he offset that 70 with a 5.
Nah, if you've got him, fuck him off.
It'll be interesting because I don't know if Penrith will run out the way that they're named. They've got Schneider and Jenkins on the bench.
I'll tell you what, do a trade that ideally try to do a trade that you might be able to reverse out of fucking if need be, but I'd feel pretty comfortable trading him.
Yeah. And I think it comes to the point where we talk about buy rounds is yes, you want to have 13 numbers, but those numbers need to be good scorers, which apart from last week, Jenkins has not been a very good scorer. I think he had 3 straight 20s.
That's the one thing that I don't really love about guys like Riley Smith and Saifidi is that
they're not great scorers.
No, they're not.
Yeah, look, when I did some digging,
having one or two of them in your fucking 13 isn't the worst though. You just don't want a bunch of cunts like that.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's something that I've been guilty of in the past is I've had like 15 back when you could have 17 players on a buy round. I had like 15, 16 players, but 3 or 4 of them were just like 25-point scorers or 30-point scorers. And it actually hurt me more in the long run than it did having those numbers on that buy round. So quality over quantity, I'd say.
Yeah.
Let me toss an interesting option at you. Short-term rental, Isaiah Papali'i. He's starting on the edge for the second week in the row. Played 80 minutes last week, and while his stats were low, he had 6 missed tackles, I think. He's playing he's in a much better matchup for the Panthers, and he's starting on the edge. Sorensen is suspended until I think round 13 or round 12, but then Liam Martin's off to Origin. So
what's the price?
He's 512 or something. He's low 500s.
What's the break even?
38, I think it is. So 522 and his break even's 48. So you could maybe wait a week on it, but he's someone that has scored very, very well in the past. Played 80 minutes last week, and while that's not a guarantee that he'll play 80 minutes this week, he could be a raging pod.
Yeah, nah, probably not though. I mean, he was a gun at the Eels a few years ago, but he has never been a gun outside of the Eels, really.
No, but even at the Tigers, he was a 50 odd, wasn't he?
He's okay.
It's okay, but he's playing in a better side now. Look, I think the upside's there, and I think if he really sort of kills it, that spot is his to win. That's my view. Look,
Yeah, but
I'm interested in Liam Henry for round 12. So
I would way rather Aitken.
yeah, that's fair. I guess I'm thinking of it more from a round 12 numbers option, but the break even's not really there.
No. If the break even was lower, so like because if it is going to be short term, like, nah.
Yeah, pretty fair. That's probably about it from that game. Storm versus the West Tigers. So we've got, what do we have? I'm surprised that Bellamy hasn't dropped either Uti Kamanu or Liero after that game. Did you see the clip post game of him in the sheds just tearing them to bits? It was very funny to watch, but Bellamy's a very angry man.
Yeah, he is.
He was livid. The, uh, just very funny.
I don't know if there's any other coach that'd be as scary as him.
No, well, a story I was told once.
People are scared of Wayne, but I don't think Wayne's as explosive as Bellamy. I mean, I'm quite certain Wayne's not as explosive as Bellamy.
No, I think Wayne would be quite chill. But okay, so it's story time with me here. So I think it was the 2007 grand final. They were flogging Manly or whoever they were playing, and Cameron Smith just could not kick a goal to save his life. And he was just blowing the fuck up. Like they're comfortably winning a grand final, and this dude is like raging at his captain and hooker for missing goals. Like
Why
that's
would he
how angry
care?
Craig Bellamy is.
Why would you care about that?
He wants Cameron Smith to kick goals, man.
I don't even
Um,
know why you'd be mildly annoyed at that. The only people that should be annoyed at that would be his fantasy owners.
like I said, this is in a grand final. Um, but yeah, that
It doesn't matter.
yeah, that's Craig Bellamy. So Melbourne, it might be time to hop off Munster. I was sort of hoping that he could turn it around, but he had that 60 followed by a
Like,
30.
Munster's been a worse buy than Brimo.
Yeah, he's been pretty average. I don't know if he's been worse than
He's
Brimson,
gone
but
backwards. Brimson's made 40k.
that's
Munster hasn't made a dime.
that's fair. At least Munster's made some cash. Not cash.
No, he hasn't.
Scored relatively decently, almost a 45 average. It's not great, but when you consider, just how bad things can go, it's not the worst.
It was just full price. He was full price when you bought him. It seemed like he'd be unders, but he just wasn't. I think Father Time's got him a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know if I
He's a
agree.
running half into his 30s. Like fucking, you expect a fantasy drop off for a guy like that, especially coming out of injuries. I'm not overly shocked. I did think he'd be better than this, but he's obviously not a gun anymore.
I think his missed tackles have just been way up this year. He's just racked up negatives like it's his job. So, look,
And he's just not as electric as he used to be.
yeah, he's gotten better in the past few weeks. He went from fuck all tackle breaks to 4, 8, and 3. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it looked like it was looking up for him, but it came crashing back down against Canberra last week.
He's a running half that's been around for a decade.
Yeah. On the flip side, though, his halves partner Jerome Hughes he posted a near 50, I think, against Canberra in a tough game for them, and is at 544k. We've sort of harped on about how round 12 isn't the be all and end all. When do we start looking at Jerome Hughes?
Well, one near 50 is not going to do it. That's fucking hardly more than he's priced at still.
That's fair.
I would not be considering him even in the slightest until after round 12. But even then, I need to see something out of him to make it like 146. Whoop de fucking do. Fucking Hopgood's done more than that. Fucking, um,
Yeah.
he'd need to be getting a couple of 50s. and his bye schedule's shithouse. Like, he's just at the moment he's not on my radar.
Yeah, I think that is how I feel about him as well. He's just clearly not the same sort of dominant half that he was last year. We sort of talk about Munster not being as good as he was either, and I think that's almost a reflection on how the Storm are playing. You know, they should be. I thought they'd come out and just win every single game comfortably, and they've done that a few times, but they've looked very shaky in a couple of games as well. So, yeah, like you said,
He's just not there at the moment. He's not there at the moment. Ponga showed a legitimate bounce back. Fucking Hughes getting a 46 and that being a good score is not super exciting.
I look to that point.
He's just not having a crack like he was last year. He's just not there at the moment. I don't even know if he's fully healthy.
Yeah, look, to that point, Melbourne played a top 4 side and Newcastle played whatever South's feeder club is because they were atrocious. So I don't know if that's a fair case to make.
Yeah, I mean, Hughes has been shit every week though, so fucking I don't see that as much of an excuse for him.
Nope, completely fair. Look, I'm pretty keen on Eliesa Katoa. Like, he
Don't mind that one. Don't mind that
is
one.
a very good player, man. He just keeps going
Good
from
price.
strength to strength.
This is a reasonable price for him. He's a player that can get up into the 700s like frequently. Like he probably, I assume it probably will get back into the 700s at some point.
So
buy wise a little bit shitty, but fucking reasonable price, decent pod with good upside. I wouldn't strongly talk anyone out of buying him.
So it's probably worth mentioning that he played a couple of games with an MCL injury as well, so potentially not playing to his full ability. So plenty of upside with Eliesa Katoa. But Eddie, I've got some heartbreaking news for you, my friend. Jake
The Preston
Preston
knock it off.
has just been found guilty by the judiciary.
I did think he would get found guilty.
Yeah. Tragic as Preston owners. He's almost a must trade, so
Yep, no, he's absolutely a must trade. I'll be trading him.
Moment silence for Jacob Preston. Rest in peace.
Pour one out for the homeboy.
To the Tigers. Actually, is there anyone else from Melbourne you want to talk about? I don't think so. Pappy seems like he's
wanted to talk about the players we did talk about.
Pappy seems like he's got goal kicking full time now. Does that interest
Pappy
you?
ain't it though. Fuck that.
Fair enough.
Pappy's not that good, and it's fucking his bye schedule shit like that.
Yeah. Okay, so the Tigers, what do we have? Just a bunch of mud and Terrell May, I think, by the looks of it. Brent Naden, did you hop on that one?
Nah, but Paddy from Talking League did.
Huge
Why?
pod. Huge pod.
Anyone that gets him deserves fucking everything that comes their way.
Yeah. I literally don't think there is a single other player worth talking about on this team.
No, obviously May's a hold. Obviously everyone's got him. Fucking.
So what we can talk about is
they're not buy friendly.
No.
Yeah, no.
Who's your captain this week?
Probably May. He's been my captain since round 2. Maybe Cleary. Probably May.
Yeah, you're probably the wrong person to ask as a non-Haas owner, but Payne Haas
exactly.
is a red-hot option, in my opinion. I'm a little worried that they just destroy the Rabbitohs, but looking at the Bunnies forward pack, I don't think that will happen. But yeah, it's hard to go past Terrell May.
Well, he hasn't let me down. Yeah, I mean, he gets fucking 70 basically on a bad week, so it's fine. Cleary's also an option against the Cowboys, but
yeah, how cooked is fantasy this year that we look at a 68 and go, oh, my captain's failed this week. Yeah. Just unreal. And Cleary's virtually averaging 70 as well, if you take that 5 out of his score after the 97 on the weekend.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it fucking matters which one you choose this week. They're all fine.
Yep. absolutely. Might be the last week of Nathan Cleary in my team, although it also might not. He's scoring.
I had been planning that, but his big scores made it awkward to sell. If he goes good again this week, then we can't sell him because I don't want to sell Clear when he's on the fucking rise. Like, it's a different story if he's going into Origin and his fucking break evens fucking 80. Fucking, and you're probably going to be able to sell him and buy him back cheaper later. Like, that doesn't seem to be the fucking case this time, though. So I'll
No.
probably hold him.
Yeah, and look, this is why earlier in the season we said that this guy is an absolute out-and-out hold, because, I mean, it's Nathan Cleary. You can't bet against the best player in the game and expect it to work out, unless he gets injured, of course. But
He's the best player in the game.
No, in rugby league, not fantasy.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't hate Cleary. I'm probably leaning towards Haas at the moment, but also you can't go wrong with Terrell May.
Oh, you can't hate on any of the three options. Like, if you're just being a fucking dick and being too pedantic otherwise. Like, just gut feel it on all three of them every week. Fucking just gut feel it.
So that brings us to our last game of the weekend, where there's maybe two relevant players total. So we got Manly playing Cronulla at 4 Pines. Jazz Tavanga starting 13 with Jake Trbojevic back in the side. Yes, no.
I thought about like the best case scenario is so lovely. Fucking DPP mid hooker plays all the major buys. It was at 13 this week. But there's so fucking much that can go wrong here. Basically, you need him to stay starting at lock or the whole thing's a fucking bust. And at the moment, Sipley's out. Sipley's back in round 12, I think, someone was saying.
I have no idea, but look, I don't think Sipley is a big enough name to really affect.
Oh, no, wait, is it Paseka that's back in round 12?
Paseka's gone for the season. He did his Achilles, I think.
Yeah. Well, Sipley's out, and so is that Josh fucking
LIA. Yeah, what's the deal with him?
So Jebo can easily slide back into the 13 jersey, and I don't want Jazz if he's wearing anything that's not 13. And the problem is that we won't really know until round 13, till round 12 if he's got that spot. And if he's not playing 13 in round 12, then he's fucking waste of space. So I don't know, man. He's got higher upside than Saifiti, but Saifiti is much, much, much safer.
Yeah, you know what you're getting with Saifiti.
This is Riley Smith. Same with Riley Smith. Compared to Jazz, Jazz has got more upside, but Riley's much, much safer.
I think the thing worth mentioning, as you've said though, is Tavanga's upside is maybe the best in the game because he plays every buy round. Like, if they actually run out with Tavanga at 13 for the rest of the season, which I have my doubts over, but if they do, then
doubts over it.
Yeah, he's almost guaranteed to average like mid 40s, I'd say, maybe slightly less or more, give or take. But yeah, the upside is just ridiculously large, but the downside's also, I would say the downside's more likely than the upside is because I just don't see him holding that spot for too long.
I do think he's past his prime as well. And like, if people looking back when he's like, oh, fucking, when he's playing over 50 minutes at fucking lock, he scores 55 or whatever. Like, he's not going to come out and do that. Like, I don't think he's that guy anymore. But yeah, he could average 40. He could average mid 40s or something. But I really, really feel unconfident about his role.
Yeah, there is a big question mark over him.
I feel like he's only starting at 13 because they're short on middles this week.
Okay, so I think there is a chance that they've seen him in the middle after playing him at hooker for whatever reason and gone, you know what, he adds something to our middle that Jake Trbojevic just does not offer anymore as a middle forward. So I think
There's a
it's.
chance.
I think team wise, it makes sense for him to be the lock and Trebojevic to be the prop. But I don't think that means Trebojevic isn't going to keep playing like 60, 70 minutes a game. So, yeah, I'm going to wait a week. If Tavanga plays 60 plus minutes, then he should still be a buy next week in theory. I just don't see it happening.
I could definitely see Gerbo going back to 13 though, because yes, while he's very plain Jane and not a very good carrier, like he actually is quite good at fucking that fucking first receiver pivot ball playing shit that fucking like 13s to do these days. So he can still fill that role, and they fucking do love him at Manly. They really do.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he'll be like Steve Menzies where he plays till he's like 38 and hopefully gets like a token appearance in a grand final to finish off his career. But yeah, I think
So yeah,
that.
I've got a deep. I wouldn't talk anyone out of taking the punt on Jazz, but don't come crying to me if he fucking in a round or two he's like on the interchange or something like. Because I
Yeah.
think that's
Look,
fucking big chance of happening.
the stress is on the word punt. It is a punt.
Yeah.
Cool.
And that's just my gut saying. My guts at the moment saying, "Fucking don't do it, can't."
Yep. I think that's about it for Manly. Like, there's obviously Garrick. Actually, so you've sort of mentioned with Ponga, right? 530, whatever he's priced at. What about Tom Trbojevic?
Yeah. So the same sort of thing does apply to him. I'm a lot more confident of Ponga being like a high-end winger fullback than Turbo, because Turbo just never really ends up fucking doing it. And what 2021 was fucking 4 years ago now, and since then, if you're lucky, fucking you get a 50 average out of him, and that's if he stays healthy. So I'm hotter on Ponga. I suppose Turbo's a chance of not making Origin though, in which case Turbo will be real handy. Um, so I'll see what happens with Turbo in round 12.
Yeah, I almost completely forgot about him, to be honest. 66 break even. Like, this could almost be timed perfectly. If we get to round 12, he's not in the Origin team and he's named at fullback for Manly, then you'd be like silly not to get him, right?
Yeah.
So you
I
kind of
don't think
need
there's
to.
any need to. Definitely don't need to jump the gun on it though.
No,
Definitely one to wait on. See,
absolutely not.
Ponga and so it is his break evens twice of what Ponga's is.
Mm-hmm.
What's he done this year?
He's been
He's been
pretty
pretty
shit this year.
fucking cacked this year.
Pretty shit this year. But we know what Tom
You know,
Trbojevic is. He can score 100 on any given week.
yeah. Oh,
Who do they play next week?
I wouldn't
Canberra.
say fucking. How many hundreds has he got in the last couple of years? Let's have a look.
He had
Like,
one
is that
last year
actually
against
the
the
case?
Tigers from memory.
He got none last year.
He had
No, he got
291s. Sorry.
yeah, he got 291s. Um, none the previous. Oh no, he got one the previous year. But yeah, I wouldn't agree that he can pop 100 any time. Like if you're lucky, he might get one in the season. So I wouldn't just equate that as any time.
Fair enough.
Um,
Yep.
but yeah, keep an eye on him. See what happens in round 12.
Mm-hmm. Uh, Garrick's also like not a bad option, basically ever. Just a real
Yeah, I've had him
solid
all year. He's
scorer.
good.
I'd probably lean more towards Kiraz over him, though. Would you
Yeah,
agree?
absolutely, absolutely.
Cool. And then that just leaves us with the Sharks. So it depends how in the weeds you want to get here. There's a few we could talk about, but none of them are raging hot. Nico, decent option, not amazing. Nikora
No.
keeps scoring tries, can't crack 50 points though, even scoring tries, which is danger signs there. Like I
You
don't know
see,
if you.
around this time last year, I picked up Nico for a similar price, and it ended up great. But I'm not feeling those vibes this time, eh?
Yeah, well, I highly doubt he scored this many
Because when I
tries.
got him last time, he just hadn't scored. I think he hadn't scored any tries for a while, so and his attacking stats were down a bit. But this year it's different. Fucking his base is consistently down, and I don't see any particular reason why his base is just going to suddenly magically be better.
Yeah.
It just feels like Nico ain't it this year. Sometimes someone just ain't it.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Like if you look at his stats at the start of last year, he had 2 real clangers to start the year, but then he had like 4 50-point scores in almost pure base. So he's not doing that this year. He's scored like 7 tries or something ridiculous, and he's averaging 44. So I wouldn't touch him.
Yeah.
And
He's not
then
getting heaps of ball. Like, yeah, he's getting ball in good situations and getting his tries and stuff, but like,
Mhm.
he's not going to come out and do fucking 20 carries in a game, and I don't think that's going to be happening at all. Nah, I just wouldn't get him. I think there's better options.
I agree with you there. And that leaves us with, for me, an interesting one, Cameron McInnes. So there aren't a lot of really strong mids, and we talked about not really wanting to pay that much for Joe Tarpanay. Where does Cameron McInnes sit in terms of your not rankings, but how strong of a pick do you think he could be throughout the bye period?
Feel more comfortable if I was 100% sure he wasn't going to play Origin.
I think he is a smoky for the team. I would say he's not likely to be picked though.
He's the
And
sort of player that's built for Origin, though. Like, I don't.
I think either way, you wouldn't buy him until round 12.
Yeah,
But
because it's enough to make me not want to pick him up too early.
but he is
Yeah,
just
I don't know, man.
monstering, absolutely motoring this year. Like his PPM is back to like
His price for what he scores is a good deal.
hmm,
What's his break even? It's probably kind of low, is it?
it's
'Cause he
44, so
just scored.
it's nothing ridiculous.
Oh no, yeah, okay. I'd wait.
Mhm. Um, and then similarly, AFB, we touched on him a little
I'd
bit.
definitely wait because he's losing money right now. His minutes are a concern. I'd certainly wait on him.
Yeah, I agree. He's got like 3 40-minute games in his last 4, and outside of a golden point where it basically went the distance against the Tigers, he just isn't really getting the minutes that he used to get at the Warriors. And his attacking stats are way down too. He's only had 5 offloads this season, which this is completely anecdotal, but I feel like he had almost 1 or 2 a game at the Warriors.
Oh, yeah, he would have. Let's just have a quick look at him here. So he's averaging 53.7. Oh, yeah, a few low scores in here. You get that with AFB though.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, he only
Oh,
had
yeah. Fucking the biggest worry here for me is that 3 of his last 4 games are minutes that are less than 44.
yeah. I think it's just I don't even know if I'd buy him in round 12 to be honest, unless McInnes made the Origin team.
So
Then maybe
his
I'd
average
consider it.
minutes is 52, but that includes a 71-minute game, which seems a huge outlier. So if I just quickly take that out, go minutes under 70, or minutes under 60, that drops his minute average down to 48, which seems more realistic.
So one
And
thing to note,
so he can average, yeah, nah.
yeah, to note on his minutes, that 71-minute game was when they had about 3 or 4 injuries, and so he was almost forced to stay on the field. And
Yeah.
the
So when I
62
filtered,
minutes against the
yeah.
Tigers was 9 minutes a golden point, I think.
So when I filter those 2 games out, it's 49 from 48 minutes. He's currently priced at 53, so yeah, no, that's a no for me right now. Revisit it in round 12.
Mm-hmm. I think that's pretty fair. So I know we tried to make this podcast a bit shorter, given it was just the 2 of us, but still managed a good crack. Anything else you want to talk about? Any Roosters that you want to speak to while they have the bye?
If you've got Watson, get rid of him.
Yeah, it's pretty fair. Yeah, let's just wrap it up there. I think we've been talking for long enough. Thanks for joining me tonight, Eddie, and thank you to
Yeah, thanks,
anyone
mate.
that's still managed to sit through our dribble for the past hour and a half. So shout out to everyone, and let's get it.
Yeah, fucking shout out to fucking Hundy Bag, Boxy, CCW, and fucking Brendo. Fucking missed the old in the bin boys. We have to fucking catch up soon.
Take it easy, guys.
Cheer the
Have a good one.
fucking boys.